Now we got into the last story, which is going to be the Canadian trucker story, and this one is fucking weird. It's controversial.
We've been talking about trucker strike for a minute now.
Look, I have, but from what it sounds like, this is not the kind of trucker strike that we were talking about necessarily. But hey, trucker strikes are trucker strikes, and they prove doing this still proves the effectiveness of a trucker strike.
Effectiveness of it, because they're worried about it. Yeah.
Right. And the fear that happens, and what it can do to a community, and how much strength there is in labor. All right. Now, here we go. Cool. Let's go.
Oath Invalid is talking about Oath Keepers were just accused of treason, including their leader.
Yes, I saw that. The guy in Texas they caught on the run.
Okay.
He was one of the founders of the Oath Keepers. And again, you scratch far enough, I guarantee you're going to see some cops, ex-military. There's definitely some authoritarianism in there. What? Oh, I'm not on the right screen. Yep. So this started back on January 17th. This caught up from CDLLife, which is just, a trucker's industry type of publication. Right? Talking about how
driver's license
delays were reported at the U.S.-Manitoba border, as a group of truckers demonstrated against new vax requirements that went into effect over the weekend. So this is I like this because this does not really have a bias to it. This really just kind of tells you, here's what happened, and here's what's going on. And then we're going to get into the back and forth of the he said, she said, and geez, there's people with Confederate flags and Trump flags and all kinds of stuff. And it's a right-wing thing. It's a left-wing thing. The left wings are saying that the Trudeau government is bringing right-wingers. It's the craziest story that you've ever seen. But meanwhile, the truckers, man, love it.
I am highly surprised at news anymore, but yes.
All right. Starting around 3 a.m. on Monday, a group of truckers performed a slow roll protest on Highway 75 between Emerson Duty Free and the Commercial Inspection Station, according to Global News. Demonstration reportedly blocked all lanes of traffic at the border and caused traffic disruptions.
Yep. Evergreen sliding over.
Right? Local outlets report that was 30 to 40 truck drivers that participated in the slow roll. Some cars and pickup drivers also joined the demonstration. And they've got...
Who's got that horn?
Is that you, Reef? Is that the new soundboard? Okay, so drivers demonstrated against sweeping vax requirements put into place by the Canadian government January 15th, requiring all U.S. truck drivers entering Canada to show proof of vaccination. So now not only are they requiring Canadian truck drivers, but any American truck driver, U.S. truck driver that wants to come in also has to be unvaccinated. Canadian truckers who are returning from the U.S. also have to quarantine for 14 days. Now, as it turns out, there were only
you're crossing the border.
There were only like 10% of the total number of truck drivers in general that had not gotten the shot, according to the statistics and what was being reported on TV. And again, we'll get into that. But last week they said they would drop the quarantine requirement for unvaccinated Canadian truck drivers, but they later said this statement was issued in error and the quarantine requirement would stand. So mixed messaging on top of it all. Right? Some members of the trucking community pointed out a 2-week quarantine would be financially devastating for drivers and smaller trucking companies. So, U.S. is expected to enforce a similar mandate starting January 22nd.
Right.
And the CTA estimated that the vaccine mandate would force 12 to 16,000 cross-border truckers to leave their jobs. All right. Now, that is the facts. That is unbiased. All right.
Right. They're mad about what are they mad about? They're mad about,
the mandate
across the border multiple times, right? Which then would require them to have to spend multiple, days at checkpoints and
Well,
yeah,
no,
I
in
mean,
quarantine, because once they went through the
right.
border,
Yep.
okay,
Yeah, they're gonna have to quarantine,
if
which
they
means they're gonna
didn't,
have to sit there,
right,
like,
for another 2 weeks before they can haul back and give a
yeah,
load, and these guys drive every week, every day, who
every
knows? I
week,
mean, how
and they
frequently what they're
need to.
driving,
If you didn't, places would end up without food, water,
Now, this is in
like,
Manitoba. Now, this then turns into a convoy of some way, of some
we got
shape.
a convoy.
And now, uh, 9 days later, trucker convoy took 2 hours to roll through Toronto.
That's
Natasha
a
Finlayson had
Texas
never
size
seen
10-4.
anything like it in Dryden. Okay? It took 2 hours to roll through. It was something to see. Truck after truck after truck, part of the Freedom Convoy, which made their way east toward Ottawa for a weekend of protest. And I've got some more on this, and it's what's
It would
worrisome
eclipse the
is
current world record for a convoy, 7.5 kilometers and 480 trucks.
right, 480 trucks. All right, means that there are 480 drivers.
Jesus.
All right, that's and easily, and this is just one of the convoys. They're coming from the east and from the U.S. and all from around Toronto
Yeah.
to Ontario too.
Yeah, because I mean, my aunt and uncle are truckers, and they're constantly in and out of Canada, like, so
Right.
they get sent up there all the time as a normal trucker, especially if you're a trucker on that, like, tri-state area. You're in and out of Canada, all the time.
Hotels are running
So
out of rooms as the Capitol braces for a huge onslaught of demonstrators. Well, capitalism. Time will tell what
yeah.
actually does happen. Again, a lot of these trucks have sleeper cabs, so I don't know if they're necessarily going to be this. It could be like one of these situations
Turn it up a bit. Yeah.
where the Zoomers will book all the hotel rooms and then not show up too. Right?
Oh. Yep.
Is that a solo cup? A mini solo cup on
Yes.
top of your nice.
Yeah. So I got the fan going, so it, like, if I
love it.
don't cap it, all the stuff just spills out. So I got a little mini solo cup. It's right on top there, perfect. Ingenuity, boy.
Nice.
Ingenuity.
Nice.
When you
Can
need a annuity engine.
Can you
What? Can I what?
back? Oh, there you go. Your beard's kind of cut off a little bit. There you go. That's better. Now that
Gotcha.
I put your nameplate up, so I'm trying to frame you a little better. Getting back to the truckers,
Also,
you can do that too. Now you're out of focus. Now you're in focus. Okay, so it's already getting a great deal of attention. Okay, they talk about Trump Jr. has gotten on social media. Joe Rogan talked about it. Theo Fleury appeared on Fox News. Right. In Canada, much of the coverage has been focused on potential racist participants or the fear of a January 6th style insurrection. Except that what's happened all weekend was a peaceful protest. And I can show you a Reuters article, but they wanted me to sign up for Reuters in order to be able to show it to you.
I can fix that. Remind me, and I'll get you that plug-in.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
But again, they're yelling about the small number of far-right vocal opposition that's polluting the discourse this winter. Okay. Justin Trudeau calling the unvaccinated racist and misogynist, which is
Of
crazy.
Because the guy
Right.
appearing in that guy.
Yes. Okay. A fringe minority of people, he called them, who are on their way to Ottawa that don't represent the the views of Canadians. Well, if they
Right.
represent Nazism and hate speech, yes, but if they're against mandates, they may not necessarily be. Tens of
Right.
thousands of supporting this grassroots pilgrimage seem to be unfazed by this predictable pushback. Right.
480 Canadians couldn't possibly, voice the views of Canadians.
The convoy has more than 600,000 Facebook followers, and a GoFundMe has raised more than 5.6 million. Well, wait a minute.
5.6 million? What?
No. They raised
Okay.
$9 million.
9 million. That's even crazier.
Okay?
What are they
For more
gonna
than
do with all that
72,000
money?
contributors. However, every time there's an anonymous donation, they think that that's a right-wing whatever and a white supremacist and a what?
But we've been saying this for months, right? Like where like look at, like, if you made a general strike fund, right? How much you would raise? Like look
To support the truckers. Look what they're doing. Look what they're doing. Now, the problem is that it does not say anywhere on the GoFundMe, and this is what happened. I think GoFundMe actually yanked this for a while because it didn't specifically say exactly where the money was going to go.
Go. Yep.
All right.
Yep. Yep.
So what's going to happen when this convoy arrives in Ottawa? Canadians will soon find out. Well, unfortunately, you'd probably have to go to like Rumble or Odyssey to find out. And I saw, and BitChute also was one of the sites that they were streaming the convoy live.
Twitter was super upset in the thread where someone put BitChute in, and Twitter was like, "This is suspicious."
Yes, they do not like BitChute. Why? Because everybody, all the doctors that question COVID narrative are on BitChute. It's really, I'll tell you, I'm an independent that leans left, left lean. That's a hardcore right wing site. Okay, it is. It's a video site. It's a platform, but the people who are on there, they tend to be. Now, also, I will also say, Corbett Report's on there, Lance American Vagabond's on there, Whitney Webb's done interviews on there. But for the most part, what I've seen is pretty, what would be considered to be extreme right. Again, all fairness. All right, now, again, this is the GoFundMe for the Freedom Convoy. All right, money raised will be dispersed to our truckers to aid them with the cost of the journey. Funds will be spent to help cover the cost of fuel. For truckers, first and foremost, will be used to assist with food if needed and to contribute shelter if needed.
Like almost like a general strike fund would have done. Almost like that. Oh.
Liar.com donated
like that.
$42,000 to this. It was a top donation.
I feel like that's fucking like what? Liar.com. Okay. What is that, like the Liar sequel? Just Liar? No?
I don't know, man, but that's a lot of $10,000 donation, anonymous $10,000 donations, and that's what people are concerned about. Where are these coming from?
Yep.
Okay. And then, of course, it gets insane. Our friends over at RT.
Where's
right now?
Find Max's tweet.
Now we know that there's been a battle of state media agencies, let's call it. BBC has been battling with RT, has been battling with YouTube, has been battling with of course the US, State Department, which is trying to deem RT like a, bad guys, of course.
Yeah, and Sputnik, and yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, and we got to hook Valerie up with what that bot is. Also, we got to tell her, but we'll do that.
Oh.
That'll let you see the Reuters stuff. But CBC says that Russian actors might have instigated the massive protest convoy that shut down Ottawa. Come on, really? So we know that a cross-country convoy jammed the streets of Ottawa in protest against vaccine mandates. Might seem like grassroots pushback against government overreach, but of course, CBC TV has offered a more sinister explanation. Russia did it. Russia.
Marsha.
All right, so Freedom Convoy giving Canada's support of Ukraine in this crisis with Russia. I don't know that it's far-fetched to ask, but there is concern that Russian actors could be continuing to fuel things as this protest grows, but perhaps even instigating it from the outset. Putin did it, exactly, Invalid. So,
Putin.
Didn't offer any evidence, of course. I'm going to defer to our partners in the public safety, the trained officials and experts in that area. Yes, I'll just talk out my ass with no evidence and no backup and put it out there and let a bunch of people on TV believe it and start repeating talking points. Trucking
Tuesday? Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I sent you the Max tweet.
There we go.
Yeah.
CBC suggests Russia is behind the truckers and convoys in Canada. Putin drive polar bear. Zaki, friend of the show. Patricia Dowling, outstanding. Hinkle,
all the greats.
Everybody's in there. Zaki commenting on everybody. Bill Nye, the highest guy. What's happening, dude?
Bill Nye.
Come on, man. Invade Ukraine. No.
But this is the happiest. This is the happiest I've seen Putin in a long time. Is driving this truck.
He looks as happy as Trump was driving the Caterpillar truck. So
I like a big wheel thing.
So again, talking about what happened, unacceptable views. A lot of the language that you saw. Yeah, a counter-protester was seen Saturday evening saying, "Fuck your white nationalist agenda," while Canadian television reporter Mackenzie Gray was quick to post a Twitter message proclaiming our first Confederate flag of the day here on Parliament Hill.
In Canada?
Multiple observers replied that Gray had spotted the first Fed of the day, meaning that federal agents seeking to discredit the post.
Yeah, it's in, like, come on, guys. Like, what are you doing?
Maybe, yeah, but is it possible that there's a Dukes of Hazzard fan among the group?
It must be, dude. It's just the General Lee, man. The fuck you talking about? You ever see the Grant? You seen the guy who made the Grant?
I mean, look, it's
like blue and it's like opposite.
I think that Canada definitely has a pigmentation situation. Let's call it.
I mean, it is the Great White North.
Overwhelmingly white, I would say.
Yep. You betcha, bud.
Yeah.
Don't you know?
So, is it possible that you had some fans of the Confederate South there, and especially ones who may lean conservative and drive trucks and watch American conservative TV? It's possible.
Had a few of those Canadians.
Then they don't necessarily have to be feds. Honestly, like, that's kind of a smooth brain take to assume that automatically all of them are feds. Though somebody even suggested they were paid by the Canadian government to be there and march with that flag, and that to me is a bridge too far. I can't square that, sir.
Yep.
I just can't.
It's still like whatever. I just think it's highly more likely that like it's a prank, if anything. Like, it's somebody being fucking super fucking facetious and shit. It's in Canada, like, you know, like you couldn't have figured out like the Southern Canadian battle flag or something, like something, you know, like down with the Quebecois, like, you know, something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, because these definitely aren't the fucking French Canadians.
No, those guys are hardcore. You got any fucking beer?
Hardcore.
They're hardcore parkour.
Beer, huh?
Oh, they're good. They're funny. Okay, so that's
Canadian accents. It's the best.
That's what I've got for tonight. I knew we ran a little long, and the Canadian trucker thing. So again, you've got the conservatives yelling about, of course, vaccine mandates, but you've got Robert F. Kennedy involved, and now you've got people calling everybody who's involved an anti-vaxxer. They're not necessarily against vaccines. They're against vaccine mandates. Then you've got the liberals that are running around saying that this is a right-wing white supremacist conspiracy theory lunatic fringe group of tiny little, a small group of people that 85,000 truckers are still doing their jobs across Canada, and that this still represents a small fringe sect of the public, but they're loud and they're not necessarily wrong. And that's the thing that really drives the libs crazy, is that they don't have an argument about this when all the science and all the data that keeps coming out about this stuff. And again, I don't want to get into trouble with our friends over here, but there are legitimate reasons to ask questions. So I'm going to leave it at that. And I did want to cover this. I thought it was important. I support truck drivers. I don't support white supremacists. And I support, and I am opposed to mandating vaccines on an entire population. You vaccinate the people who need to be vaccinated.
Well, and it's the classic on issues, right? But,
exactly. So
a couple of truckers came into town the other day. It's like, what this fucking seems like